Today is Thursday, 7th of August 2025. I'm here to bring you the stories that matter, clear, credible, and connected to your world. Let's get started. A native doctor with a criminal past now commands a government security force in Biafra land. But is he a protector of the people, or a weapon of betrayal? His name? Man Pass Man. His identity? A self-declared Biafran. His mission? Still a mystery. Governor Charles Soludo just shocked an entire nation by appointing this controversial figure to lead Ebubeagu, a group already accused of hunting down Biafran youths. The same man who once stood as a spiritual symbol now wears the uniform of state power. But whose side is he really on? Villages are under siege. Musa boys and Asari boys are accused of abducting young men. Gunshots echo in marketplaces. Biafran brothers are being used to fight each other. This is not just about one man. It's about a people trapped in fear, confused by who protects and who betrays. Was this appointment a cultural statement, or a political trap? Is Biafra land being silently occupied from within? This story is breaking the internet and igniting a fire across Igbo land. Watch till the end, because what you're about to hear may change the way you see Nigeria forever. A native doctor known as Man Pass Man from Anambra State has been appointed by Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo as a commander in the Ebubeagu security outfit. Despite allegations that Man Pass Man has a criminal background, including kidnapping, he has now been given a leadership role in the state's security structure. Man Pass Man openly declares himself a Biafran and claims his version of Biafra does not support taking things forcefully from people. His loyalty to the Biafran cause raises questions about whether he will truly serve the state government or secretly support Biafran liberation movements. Meanwhile, some critics and commentators have questioned if this new commander will fight against the Biafran Liberation Army or defend the land from Fulani herdsmen and other criminal threats. There is increasing tension in Biafra land due to governments using local men to fight fellow Biafrans, leading to brother fighting brother. One side of the conflict includes government-backed groups like Ebubeagu, Musa boys, and Asari boys, while the other side includes Biafran Liberation Army, Biafran Resistance Force, and Biafran Defense Force. These divisions are creating chaos, mistrust, and bloodshed within the region, confusing residents who truly defends them.
You don't see the importance of the whistle.
Critics mentioned the celebration and spiritual rituals surrounding the appointment of Man Pass Man, suggesting a mix of cultural beliefs and militarism. There are concerns that the appointment may be more political or symbolic rather than effective in truly improving security. The critic criticizes Fulani militias and warns them to stay away from Biafran territory, aligning with the new commander's sentiments. It highlights the growing fear among civilians due to the actions of Musa boys and Asari boys, a group reportedly arresting and harassing young men. These Musa boys and Asari boys are accused of wrongfully detaining innocent citizens, contributing to rising tension and fear across Anambra and surrounding areas. According to a message by Commander Gentle de Yahoo, people in Arondi Izuogu and Okigwe were advised to leave the area if they cannot endure the coming confrontation. Commander Gentle warned that Musa boys and Asari boys are provoking civilians, not the Biafran fighters, and their actions are causing more people to flee their villages. Eyewitnesses described incidents of soldiers in black uniforms arresting people on the streets and firing shots to create panic. A shocking incident occurred where two young men were arrested outside a shop in Mados, with gunshots fired as people ran for safety. The security forces reportedly abandoned motorcycles and belongings during arrests, showing a high level of aggression and disregard for civil rights. The eyewitness strongly criticizes the intimidation tactics of security operatives, blaming them for mass displacement and public distrust. This development reflects the deep divide in Biafra land, uncertainty about Soludo's appointee, and ongoing clashes between state-backed forces and Biafran defenders, with the people caught in the middle. The deepening crisis in southeastern Nigeria, particularly in Anambra and surrounding regions, continues to provoke strong emotions, fear, confusion, and outrage. At the center of the latest controversy is the shocking appointment of a controversial figure, man popularly known as Man Pass Man, as the new Ebubeagu commander by Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo. While this appointment has stirred debate across political, cultural, and security landscapes, it has also exposed the heartbreaking fractures within Igbo society and reignited long-standing grievances about marginalization, betrayal, and state-sponsored violence against the Biafran people. To understand the gravity of the situation, we must begin by identifying the key problems this event has stirred. First and foremost is the controversial character of the appointee, Man Pass Man, who is not only a native doctor from Anambra State, but also a self-proclaimed Biafran. His open declaration of loyalty to the Biafran cause instantly clashes with the identity and perceived role of Ebubeagu, a state-backed security outfit often used to counter Biafran liberation forces. This contradiction immediately raises questions. Who does Man Pass Man truly serve? The state or the Biafran people? Is he a Trojan horse within a government machinery many believe to be complicit in the oppression of the same people it claims to protect? Or is this just another tactical attempt by Nigerian political elites to infiltrate and destabilize the growing influence of the Biafra Liberation Army, Biafra Defense Force, and Biafran Resistance Force? For many supporters of Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa, this appointment reeks of manipulation and betrayal. It is perceived as another state-sponsored scheme to pit Igbo sons against one another, while the real enemy, the Fulani-controlled federal establishment, watches in satisfaction. This is not new. History has repeated itself over and over again, showing how the Nigerian system has weaponized internal divisions to keep the Biafran dream fragmented, bruised, and silenced. But the people are not blind. The larger Biafran community, both within the homeland and in the diaspora, recognize the sinister trend and the devastating consequences it has unleashed over the years. From the genocidal war of 1967 to the 1970 starvation campaign against Biafran children, to the countless massacres in Onitsha, Aba, and Umuahia, to the Operation Python Dance military invasion that saw peaceful IPOB protesters slaughtered in their own land. The history of Igbo marginalization is bloody, documented, and undeniable. Fast forward to 2025. This new drama with Governor Charles Soludo and his appointment of Man Pass Man as commander of a controversial force has opened fresh wounds. The state's decision is being interpreted by many as a desperate political move that not only lacks sincerity, but poses great danger to the future of Biafra land. It is an insult to those who have sacrificed their lives for freedom and a reckless disregard for the will of the people. The claim that Man Pass Man has a criminal background, including allegations of kidnapping, makes the decision even more alarming. How can someone with such a tainted record be tasked with leading a security outfit in a state already traumatized by insecurity? Is this an act of deliberate provocation? Why is the state empowering questionable characters while ignoring the cries of innocent civilians being harassed daily by groups like the Musa Boys and Asari Boys, both of which are allegedly being backed by the Nigerian military and political elites? Let's not sugarcoat the situation. The Fulani herdsman crisis is not imagined. It is real, brutal, and deeply traumatic. For years, these herdsmen have invaded Biafran communities with impunity, killing farmers, raping women, destroying properties, and burning entire villages. And yet, not once has the Nigerian government treated them with the same hostility they reserve for peaceful Biafran activists. Instead, these herdsmen are often protected, or at worst ignored, while Biafran youths are hunted like animals, imprisoned without trial, and even killed. Man Pass Man's first public declaration as commander, warning the Fulani to leave Biafra land, sparked both support and suspicion. On one hand, Biafrans welcomed the boldness of his words. After all, few in political office have dared to say what the masses feel. But on the other hand, seasoned observers know better than to trust mere words. Action is what matters. Will Man Pass Man confront the atrocities of Fulani militias, or will he, like many before him, turn Ebubeagu into a terror unit against his own people? The backdrop of this new crisis is already stained with blood. Multiple eyewitnesses from communities like Arondizuogu, Okigwe, and Mados have recounted horrifying stories of young men being abducted in in broad daylight. Men in black uniforms, believed to be Musa boys or Asari boys, have reportedly fired live bullets into crowds, invaded shops, dragged civilians into trucks, and abandoned motorcycles and phones in the process, showcasing a level of arrogance and lawlessness that is frightening. A particularly disturbing incident occurred outside a shop in Mados. According to eyewitnesses, two young men were standing peacefully when masked operatives suddenly emerged, fired shots in the air to scatter the crowd, and whisked the boys away. Such incidents are no longer rare in Biafra land. They are daily realities, and people are no longer willing to stay silent. Commander Gentle, one of the respected voices among Biafran liberation forces, released a warning video to civilians in Arunditsuogu and Okigwe, advising them to relocate if they cannot withstand what is coming. According to him, the provocations by Musa boys and Asari boys are the real threats, not the Biafran defenders. He made it clear that the Biafran fighters have never been the aggressors, but are only defending their land from invaders and traitors used by political operatives to destroy the revolution from within. This divide between those perceived to be defending Biafra land and those seen as working for state or foreign interests is now deeply entrenched. It has torn communities apart. Brothers now stand on opposite sides of the battlefield. Family members now spy on each other. Villages are now suspicious of their own youths. This is precisely what the enemies of Biafra have always wanted: confusion, chaos, and internal collapse. Man pass. Man's appointment came with traditional rituals and native doctor ceremonies, complete with incantations, charms, and red feathers. Some view this as cultural pride, while others believe it dangerously mixes spiritualism with militarism. In a land already torn by blood and fear, such theatrics only deepen anxiety. The people no longer know who to trust. Is this new commander a spiritual warrior for Biafra, or a government tool wrapped in traditional disguise? Let's not forget the emotional and psychological toll this is having on everyday people. In Anambra, mothers now warn their sons not to go out after dark. Fathers fear taking their children to farms. Young boys are disappearing, and those who return speak of torture, beatings, and threats of execution. This is not a fantasy. This is the brutal life in today's Biafra land. And what has the government done to stop it? Nothing. Instead, they empower more security commanders like Man Pass Man, a man accused of past crimes, now given fresh authority to enforce government will. The real issue here is betrayal. Betrayal by those who claim to be Biafrans, yet side with the same Nigerian government, responsible for decades of massacre and marginalization. Men like Charles Soludo, who rose to power with the support of his people, are now seen by many as puppets of Abuja. Rather than addressing the root causes of insecurity, injustice, lack of self-determination, and economic strangulation, they create more confusion by arming local men to fight Biafran brothers. The story of Biafra is not one of rebellion, but of survival. From the days of Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu to today's leaders like Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa, the struggle has always been about protecting identity, land, and dignity. Biafrans are not terrorists. They are a people who were bombed, starved, and silenced, yet they rise again. Now, the world watches in silence as new atrocities unfold. The United Nations has yet to officially condemn the repeated military invasions in southeastern Nigeria. Human rights organizations issue weak statements. Meanwhile, the killings continue, and young Biafrans who once believed in Nigeria are now convinced that only full independence will end the suffering. Man Pass Man, whether he likes it or not, is now a symbol of that confusion. If he truly believes in Biafra, then he must reject being used against his own people. If he is a pawn in the hands of Soludo, then he has become the very thing the Biafran struggle seeks to eliminate: betrayal from within. As the dust settles around this controversy, one thing is certain: the people of Biafra are watching. They are tired of the lies, tired of the games, and tired of the violence. Their demand is simple: freedom, justice, and peace in their own land. Not more government security outfits, not more Fulani invasions, and not more traitors disguised as protectors. The situation remains tense, but the truth remains powerful. The voice of Nnamdi Kanu still echoes through prison walls. The strategic leadership of Simon Ekpa continues to inspire millions. And no matter how many Ebubeagu commanders are appointed, the spirit of Biafra will never be extinguished. History is on the side of the oppressed, and as long as injustice continues, the cry for Biafra will only grow louder. The complexity of what is happening in Biafra land today cannot be understood unless we go back to where it all began. The systematic injustice and betrayal that the Igbo nation has suffered for over 5 decades. The appointment of Man Pass Man as commander of Ebubeagu by Governor Charles Soludo is not just a one-time administrative decision. No, it is a painful reminder of how Igbo leaders have often been used to suppress the dreams and voices of their own people in exchange for crumbs from the federal table. To begin with, the Ebubeagu security outfit, which was supposedly created to defend southeastern communities from rampaging Fulani herdsmen and other criminal elements, has instead become a tool of oppression. This outfit, in many documented cases, has harassed, detained, and even killed innocent young Igbo men accused of being sympathetic to the Biafra cause. It is important to remember that these so-called offenders are not drug lords or cultists. They are people whose only crime is carrying the Biafran flag or posting videos of Simon Ekpa or Nnamdi Kanu on social media. This is what Nigeria has become, a place where self-determination is criminalized and patriotism to one's heritage is branded as terrorism. Now, when a man with a history of alleged kidnapping and cult activity, like Man Pass Man, is given command of such a security unit, it tells you all you need to know about the real intentions behind the appointment. It's not about security, it's about power, it's about control, and most importantly, it's about silencing dissent and scaring people away from joining or supporting the Biafra movement. And the truth is, this tactic has been used before. During the Nigerian Civil War, many Igbo leaders were used as political stooges to weaken Biafra from within. These were people who sold out information to federal forces, sabotaged military efforts, or encouraged surrender, even when thousands were willing to keep fighting. That cycle of betrayal has never ended. It continues today in new clothes and modern faces, from political office holders in the southeast to community leaders who praise Abuja while their people starve. What is especially disturbing in this case is the timing. Governor Soludo's appointment of Man Pass Man came at a time when Fulani militias have increased their presence and operations across Biafra land. Towns in Enugu, Ebonyi, Abia, Anambra, and Imo states have all reported brutal attacks by herders. Farmers have been killed, women have been raped, children have been orphaned, entire families have been wiped out in midnight invasions. Yet, none of these crimes have led to meaningful arrests or convictions. Instead, the victims are blamed. They are told to coexist with their murderers or leave their ancestral homes for their own safety. This is why many believe Man Pass Man's loud declaration that Fulani must vacate Biafra land is not genuine, but a carefully scripted performance. If he truly meant those words, why join an outfit like Ebubeagu that has never fired a shot at Fulani herders, but has terrorized IPOB and Biafra sympathizers? And even if we momentarily assume he is sincere, what powers does he really have? What ammunition? What freedom to operate without directives from Soludo and the Abuja elite? Is he now going to fight the same people his paymasters are protecting? That is the contradiction at the heart of this entire episode. Meanwhile, the situation on the ground is deteriorating rapidly. In communities like Arondisuogu, Okigwe, Olu, and Ihiala, daily life has become a living nightmare. The Musa Boys and Asari Boys, both of whom are alleged to be government-sponsored militia groups, have taken over towns and streets. Residents say these boys now act above the law. They operate like special forces, heavily armed, masked, and untouchable. They move in convoys, block roads, conduct illegal stop-and-search operations, arrest young men, and extort families under the threat of death. According to numerous reports, these groups have been involved in arbitrary arrests, extrajudicial killings, and public intimidation. Yet the Nigerian police have done nothing. And Ebubeagu? Silent. That silence speaks volumes. In a chilling message released via audio and video, Commander General Ebubeagu, a key figure within the Biafran Liberation Army, stated clearly that Musa boys and Asari boys are the real provocateurs. He warned civilians who cannot withstand the heat of the coming war to flee for their safety. His words were not threats, but desperate cries from a man who has watched his people suffer while the government continues to fuel the conflict. Commander General's message also touched on a deeper issue, the psychological warfare being waged on Biafrans. By sponsoring groups that look like the people, Igbo by name, tongue and dress, but act like enemies, the government is turning communities against themselves. It's a tactic used in colonial Africa. Divide and conquer. Confuse the people until they no longer know who is fighting for them or against them. This is why the masses are increasingly placing their faith not in politicians, governors or state-appointed commanders, but in liberation movements like those led by Simon Ekpa and Nnamdi Kanu. Because in a world of lies and betrayal, these two names represent consistency, courage, and sacrifice. While some may criticize their methods, no one can deny that Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa have risked their lives, freedom, and reputations for the sake of Biafra. Nnamdi Kanu, currently held under harsh detention conditions, has endured torture and isolation for speaking the truth. Simon Ekpa, operating in exile, has faced legal attacks, media defamation, and assassination threats for organizing peaceful resistance. Compare this to politicians like Soludo, who sit in government houses protected by state security, making decisions that send poor people to their deaths. The contrast is clear. One side fights for survival, the other fights for political convenience. As the crisis intensifies, fear continues to spread. Parents now organize secret prayers before sending their children out in the morning. Traders hide Biafra stickers and flags under market stalls. Young boys no longer walk in groups. Women carry identity cards and memorized phone numbers in case they are caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Even religious leaders are not spared. Churches have been raided. Mosques have been used as intelligence bases. Traditional rulers have been threatened or co-opted. The cultural and spiritual fabric of Biafra land is being stretched to its limits. And all the while, the rest of Nigeria moves on, ignoring the cries of a people dying slowly and steadily. The most painful part of this crisis is the silence of the international community, despite clear evidence of human rights abuses and extrajudicial killings.
o nwere ndị na-echibe nwe ndị na-ada echibe